I'll announce us in. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to coverage of Ludum Dare. I'm Larry, joined by Jupiter Hadley, and
Hello.
today we're going to be talking about what it's like to be people covering the jam and all of that stuff, podcast style.
Podcast style.
Or, I mean, I feel like podcasting is something that everyone thinks that they do, but may not necessarily do, but it's an umbrella term. Like,
Yeah. No, this is definitely a podcast. I've decided. You've just called it podcast very efficiently. Done.
welcome to
Officially.
Podcast 2.0. It's like other podcasts, but it's podcastier. Like when I go onto
Yeah.
Netflix and I want to watch a crime show, so I watch Corrupt Crimes, which is a show that basically is saying we have the crimiest of crimes.
Yeah. Sure. That's
Yes,
what this is.
yeah. So yeah, we cover Ludum Dare whenever there's a game jam, and we make videos, recording the games, playing the games, giving feedback to the games. It's good stuff.
Not voting on the games because we can't. Yeah.
Although we did have that one time we were allowed to vote on the games. Did
That
people get
secret voting thing.
did people get really spicy with you too about your ability
yes.
to vote on game? People got so mad. I don't.
So angry. So
What?
angry. But we were allowed to vote for 1 year.
Yeah.
And then for one Ludum Dare. And then the next one right after that, we were told we couldn't vote. Well, they put it up to public opinion, and public went, I don't know these people. And it's like, well, you don't know everyone voting on your game anyway.
Yeah, it's like you're not
What?
one of my peers. How dare you? And I'm just like, all right, that's fair. But I got like angry messages calling me like an asshole and telling me that like I have shitty opinions on games, and I'm like, I pride myself in actually having done research on certain genres of games that I've never encountered before, but I know that they exist. And people are just like, no, how dare you?
Yeah, they were like, no. I got a lot of, well, you don't understand how to make a game. And my reply was, but I have made jam games. And they were like, well, you don't know the work that we go through in such a short amount of time. It was like, well, you don't know the work I go to play your games. And then it was the next comment to that, because I replied to a lot of these. The next like bullet point on that list was, you don't play the games for long enough. And my reply to that was, well, obviously I'd play them for more than a minute if I got the ability to vote. I currently do play a lot of games for more than a minute. But you just don't see that in the video.
Right, and I try to play games pretty thoroughly because I do like little sets of 3 where I give like in-depth feedback. I actually remember when I decided to do that, so why don't we just preface this by saying like what our video styles are. So I like to do like a 5 to 10 minute segment on each video, do 3 of them at once for like a 20 to 30 minute video, and try to give as much feedback as I can to give insight into sort of the process that people go through and some useful information that maybe the indies could use to build the game out further.
Which is a really, really nice way of doing it and way more in depth than what I do. I do 10 games per video at about a minute to like 3 minutes each. And I sort of just have your first impression of opening up the game and seeing how I get on with it. And that's all that you see in my videos. I do write at the end an article of my favorites from each jam, and I write about specific really good games over on Alpha Beta Gamer. So obviously I play those quite a bit longer. I play them fully and then write about them.
Right, you're kind of got like a publication sort of angle that you're working from, which isn't bad.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think that in the world of YouTube, there's a place for everyone's type of content, especially if you try to delineate yourself from the rest of the pack. Although what Jupiter doesn't admit to on camera right now is that she tries to play every single Ludum Dare games because she's a crazy person. She's crazy.
That's a misconception.
I think you tried one year, didn't you?
The first few years I did do it. I did try to play them all. Didn't get anywhere. I was like, well, this is silly. But to be fair, when I first started playing Ludum Dare games, there weren't a lot of game jams like there are now. There was 7 game jams the first year I covered game jams total, and that was like all of the big game jams. There were 7 of them, so it was a lot easier to cover games. Now there's tons of game jams because I don't specifically cover Ludum Dare. I cover lots of game jams in the same way. But I cover
Right.
all entries to most other game jams, just not to Ludum Dare. I cover whatever's entered in my sheet.
Yeah. I I started out becoming aware that game jams had gone digital because when I was in college, like there was a local video game school where you could, well, it was part of our college, but it was like an offshoot where you could go learn how to make video games and be a part of the video game industry. So they had like public game jams where you could come out, hang out, and participate if you wanted. But I
Mhm.
hadn't really become aware of that until the Cyberpunk game jam when
Yeah,
I
I
was
remember
really
Cyberpunk.
introduced. And then a couple of the developers that worked there and do a lot of the big time heavy hitters in Ludum Dare were like, Larry, you should check out Ludum Dare. I'm like, I don't. What is that? They're like, go to this website. It's basically a huge international game jam. It's like the international game jam, except more people participate. I'm like, oh,
Mm.
well, that sounds fancy. So I jumped in for Ludum Dare 29, and I think I'd been aware that you were doing Game Jam stuff before that, because I think I saw you covering Cyberpunk Jam and a couple of like
Yeah.
Flappy Jam and a couple of the other ones. Um, but it was actually between you and the Button Masher Bros that I decided to get off my ass and finish my intros. So I actually had some professional grade introduction stuff. Because the Button Masher Bros, like they got people who've worked in like every aspect of the creative industry, like sound, video, and so forth.
Yeah, they're
So
so fancy.
they got like a fancy 3D animated intros for everything, and I was like, man, I gotta brush off the rust from my After Effects days. Holy smokes.
And I don't have a whole lot of fanciness to me. I'm just one person trying to play all of the indie game jam games.
I mean, that's fancy all in itself because nobody else I think even gets close to the number of these that you play.
Hmm, thank you. I think your flashiness is amazing, and you've got a great personality when it comes to covering just games in general.
Why, thank you. I do try. Especially when people like to joke that I have a face for radio, and I'm like, all right, settle down, Jethro. Jeez. Oh boy.
But yes.
So
I started covering Ludum Dare back in the LD27. My friend was an indie developer, and I wanted to make games. I don't like making games. We found that out kind of fast. So he pointed me to TIG Source, and I used to play indie games from TIG Source. And then he said, "Hey, there's this game jam going on. You can play your favorites." And I said I wouldn't know my favorites unless I played them all. And then it became sort of a challenge because he told me there was no way I could. And he was right, but
I
I'm
mean,
pretty sure I've at least showed him up a little bit.
I was just looking at my list of games from just this jam alone, and I have like over 1,000 submissions of people sending stuff. So I was just like, I'll bet there's like at least 4,000 games each one of these jams or something. It's insane.
4,000, that's a whole lot more.
I mean, I don't know the actual number. I'm sure like Mike's got a number out there after the jam
It's
is over.
2,000.
Okay, I was only one off.
Yeah,
That's still
it
a
was like
lot.
2,800-ish. It's the biggest online game jam. I'm gonna put that in air quotes because I don't. There's a couple of jams that claim that they're the biggest, but Ludum Dare is one of like up there.
Certainly
And
the
I believe
longest
it did
running.
Sorry?
Certainly the longest running.
Yeah, it's certainly the longest running. But yeah, it does get a ton of entries, and I've got a ton on my sheet as well. If you're not aware, we as people looking to play games put up like a spreadsheet base or a forum that gamers can. I'm saying everything incorrectly. That developers can fill out so that we can play their games.
Yeah, so we put together these little Google submission forms that you can create through your Google Drive for anyone out
Yeah.
there who's interested in becoming a video creator. And then after the game jam is over, the creation portion, then Mike likes to put out a little thread where that gets sticky where we can all post our little forms and how to get in contact with us to send us games. And then we play games and give our feedback and talk about them. And
Mhm.
I think that's kind of like the life cycle of a game is, people make the game and you hope people play the game. And a lot of creators, I think, really love it when somebody not only plays it and enjoys it, but also records that and shares it with the world because that's kind of like
Mhm.
a documentation of their game out there in the wild.
Yeah. And it is quite cool to see someone play your creation and see what they did first, and like how different they've played it compared to how you've played it when creating it,
Right.
and what they liked.
So I suppose the other thing we could talk about in this little video is information for other people who might be interested in creating video content for Ludum Dare or just for YouTube in general. And maybe also for information on what developers can do if they want to entice video people or create their own videos as well, because creating your own promotional material is a way to cheapen the development process without having to get a third party involved. And whatever else we might come up with too, I suppose.
That's a broad umbrella.
Yeah. So Jupiter, how do you record?
I use Bandicam, the like premium or whatever the software that you pay for. I like Bandicam because you can like click and drag a blue box anywhere on your screen or snap it to a specific window. So it's easy to record basically anything, especially weird sized indie games and indie games that aren't quite full screen or browser based ones. You can also switch it to a full screen mode where it's a lot like Fraps and it just has a number in the corner. And yeah, I use Bandicam.
Nice. I mean, so for what people might not be aware is there's probably something like 30 some different recorders that you can use, and there's a new one every day. The big ones right now, I use for most of my stuff, I use either OBS, which is open broadcasting software, which is like the open source go-to for everybody's first time. There's also XSplit, which is the premium version of OBS, and then
I thought it's more like streaming softwares, though.
They are designed primarily originally to be streaming software, but I think OBS tends to be one of the more feature-rich recorders right now, just because they let you do things like separate your audio channels by default, which makes editing super easy. There is a gnat in my office, and I do not like it.
There's a kiwi squeaking in the background of my office, and
is that your bird?
It's annoying. Yeah.
What kind of bird you got?
Green cheek conure. It's a type of parrot.
Oh, cute. My friend had
what type of office do you have?
I have a basement office with a shelf that's cluttered beyond belief. I can show people. That's my shelf. There's Flex Seal down there. I do, for friends and family, I convert VHS videos, which is why there's a VCR. There's my PS4.
How old are you? A VCR?
Yeah, it's the VCR from upstairs. It's got DVD player combo. There's my PS4,
wow,
PS3, the Nintendo Switches over here, the Oculus, Plastidip for cosplay stuff, which I got into this year. All the 50 chords for my Elgato capture card are down there. One of them's hanging right here. So if you don't know what an Elgato capture card is for people out there, if you do...
I've got one recently because of your recommendation.
Yeah, it's a really nice capture card. So you need a capture card when you want to record to be able to control your recordings to any extent on consoles and everything. And a lot of the previous capture cards you actually had to install into your computer, which isn't always convenient or doable for some people. So let me just unplug one of them.
So I'm not too techy, but it's so easy to use, and I very much do use it. I don't know. You just plug it into your PC with a wire, and then you plug it into your device, and it just shows it on. I use a Fusion 5 Android tablet with mine, and it shows it up on my screen, and it's very easy to use, and it's got
does it work on the Android tablets? I mean, for the previews, or are you recording your tablet?
Sorry, I'm recording my tablet, yeah.
Okay. You see, I made the mistake when I bought my new phone of getting one that has encryption on it. So I used to record everything with the Elgato, including my PC, because I would record from PC to Mac. And then I got rid of the Mac, so I didn't really need to do that anymore with a souped-up PC. But then I also bought a Nexus 5X that I use for my timer, and it doesn't actually have the ability to put out any type of signal from the bottom. They want you to use the Chromecast now for all of the Google-branded stuff. So that's a pain in the butt. But my other phone, they actually put a kernel-level encryption on the video output for the old one I had. So what I've actually done is, to get around that, I've just jailbroken it, and now I use a screen recorder, which is basically like OBS for the phone.
So that's what I used to use on my. I've never used my phone for it. I like to keep my phone and actual work stuff separate. So I used to have a Nexus 7 tablet that I just had jailbreak rooted is what they called it. And then I had a recording software on it, but the audio was really shit compared to this really expensive microphone in front of me with way better audio. So having the capture card made the audio such a better quality because it records it through this mic.
Right. So what I ended up doing was I don't actually record my voice with this one because the thing that's always really sucks with the screen recording software you actually pay for is they have to use the microphone on the bottom of the phone in order to record the game sounds, which is awful. But with this one that I've got, when you root your phone, it just records it internally because it's all fancy and jailbroken. And then I just do this thing where I start the recording and then I synchronize, like, recording.
You do more editing stuff.
Yeah, I synchronize my voice. I say, like, I scroll to the left and then I pull the phone to the left and then I pull the phone to the right and then I synchronize my voice and then put it all together later. Or I use BlueStacks because sometimes it's just more convenient.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and if you don't know what BlueStacks is,
editing, so.
that's an emulator that you run on your computer that pretends it's Android. It works okay. It's not.
This sounds super complicated.
Oh boy, the amount of work YouTubers go through to play your games, folks. We love you. That's why we do it. That's why. That's why. So if I was gonna say, like, if you were gonna get started trying to do OBS and stuff right now, just get yourself a headset with an okay-ish microphone, like the one I've got right now. I just got like a cheapy Logitech G35 headset. And
I'm pretty sure I started out with a very similar, same brand headset.
Yeah, just like get a nice headset with an okay-ish microphone, and then get OBS. You don't necessarily need a webcam. I just have webcams because I did streaming at a couple of events and did like interviews with people. And then just try to do stuff. And, you know, you're going to have a lot of hiccups to begin with. Just try to do stuff and work out the kinks as you go. Now, if you're a developer...
Be consistent with what you do. Wait, no, I have advice too. Be consistent with what you do. Don't just make a video and then say you'll make a video every Wednesday and never make a video on Wednesday. Like a TV show, you do have to have consistency in your channel. That's important.
Try to keep your time frame. I don't always say exact time because sometimes stuff messes me up all the time.
Yeah.
But try to post a couple things a couple times a week on a regular basis. Be honest about what you're working on. And be okay with throwing garbage up sometimes because sometimes it's all right.
It's all right to puke garbage. You're fine.
Yeah, like everyone starts somewhere. Like I remember a long time ago I used to watch Yogscast Sips. And his original microphone sounded like a toaster that someone had hit with a hammer. It was amazing. It was like a $5 microphone he gotten for free.
Well, we all start somewhere.
Yeah. And if you're a developer, like, just grab OBS and, like, set it up with a tutorial on YouTube. I have a couple. If you're curious, I can link you to them. Totally not self-promotion, not at all.
No, none.
And you can set it up to use your graphics card to record with and very easily record your game for like a trailer or something that you can quickly clip together with your video editor of choice. Although I'm told that they retired Windows Movie Maker. I didn't realize that.
I've heard that as well. I don't use it though, so.
Well, I was going to make a tutorial on it at one point for my tutorial channel, and I'm like, where the heck do you even get this anymore? And apparently you have to buy it.
Wow. I didn't realize.
What?
I don't know.
If I was gonna buy something, I'd buy Vegas or something on like a pretend I'm a student still.
I'd buy something way better.
Yeah.
I don't do any editing, so I use an old version of Virtual Dub, and it's a very probably incorrect way of editing, and I do
that is very old school.
Oh yes, my editing, and I've told you this before, is I take the clip, I resize it to be 1280 by 720 or like that ratio. And then I do that with each individual clip, and then I string them together and string the audio and just hit save.
Wow.
So I have pre-made presets, and then that's it. That's what you get.
I mean, I do something very similar with some presets where I put it into Premiere, and then I send the audio to Audition, I run it through a compressor that I've put together, and that makes my audio delicious, and then it comes back out, and I'm like, then I just clip it together and do all the fancy video effects. I used to do a lot more video effects. Like, I used to do Game Grumps style stuff, but people don't really care as much anymore, so I've done less of it unless it's like a funny video that I want to do it on.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sometimes you don't need all of the flashiness.
Yeah, when you make enough videos, like, sometimes it's just too much work to do that, and you get kind of burned out, so you're just like, I'm just gonna edit the videos, put in the stuff I know needs to be there, and then let it go, because otherwise I'll explode.
How do you feel about the new Ludum Dare website? The LD Jam website.
Oh yeah, that's a good topic. I feel like they've needed to do something for a while, because I too used to work in WordPress development, and WordPress, don't get me wrong, WordPress is a decent platform that lets you do whatever type of website you really want, with or without the use of like a blog feed. But at the same time, it's become a bloated collaboration of like a bunch of different features that you don't need 90% of them, so it gets really slow and clunky.
Are you talking about the old website or the new website? It's a collaboration of a lot of features.
I'm just talking about WordPress in general, even before we start talking about all the cobbled together features that Mike has had to put together to keep the Ludum Dare website, the old one, going.
The old website is a mess.
Like, I just saw that it's really slow, like super slow.
It's a mess. The old website's a mess. That's all I have to say about it. But my opinion on the new website, well, one thing that I wish that we took from the old website and moved to the new website was trophies. I'm very, very sad that I can't give people trophies anymore.
I mean, that might still be coming. I mean, if you ask Mike, I'm sure he'd tell you yes or no on that. Because you got...
I mean, I did ask, and I was ignored. So I feel like the answer is not good.
Dang it. Although, I mean...
now I'm just mentioning it to everyone, so it'll happen.
Maybe what we need to do next is we need to interview Mike on one of the days he's not exploding.
He's always exploding, though.
Yeah, but exploding less. Which is like, it's like a fine point.
He's always exploding. I just really like giving people trophies. I like giving my favorites trophies. I thought it was pretty cool, and it was something that only Ludum Dare did. So I was like, oh, this is a unique feature that I can interact with the community in. But yeah, the new website's way sleeker. I wish it had more YouTube stuff in the sidebar. All of the live streams are like Twitch only, but that's probably something that's hard to do or something.
You know, I bet he could set it, like, I know that you can set it up so that you can pull videos based on their tags using the YouTube API. I think it's just easier to throw together the little community thing that he put together for Ludum Dare.
Yeah.
Whereas the YouTube thing requires effort.
In the sidebar, there's like a live stream of like random Twitch streams that have been happening, that use the tag or something. And they're still there. There's like still people live streaming stuff, just programming.
Yeah, hashtag. I see that right now, and I was just thinking, I think that's an actual like built-in function of Twitch that they worked on for a while, where with YouTube, everything is technically a part of their API, but it all kind of works like a little bit shit.
Well, that's lame.
I mean, that's something that every YouTuber will tell you, is that everything works on YouTube, but a lot of it works a little bit shit.
Yeah, a lot of it works a little bit shit. I just would like YouTube live streams to come up there. I don't know. Do you have any big opinions on the new website? Do you like it? You got more into the website than me because you had posted like a temp game almost and added.
Right. So in order for us to post as YouTubers, we would have had to create a game project. We didn't have to finish it, but in order to post on the forum or like the blog section, we had to have started a game. Jupiter Hadley and the Button Masher Bros hadn't gotten there yet. Larry was like all up in there, like, I can't post. How do I post? I gotta make sure I got that unlocked.
My ritual before Ludum Dare is not doing anything related to Ludum Dare, game jams, or general work. That is my ritual. I don't look into things. I sit there and hope that I don't die.
That's fine. I'm not, no judgments. I mean, I'm working on other projects. Like, I was doing a logo and a video at the time, and I'm just like, I should make sure. Okay. She says this like I did a lot of research into this. I literally got on for 10 minutes. I'm like, I should make sure I have an account. I got a profile icon, which I didn't originally because that wasn't working properly. And I should be able to post. So I was like, okay, I can't post. How do you post? So I look on and someone's like, you gotta post, you gotta make a game project before you can post. And then I also noted in that same thing, like, and if you want to be a part of the same project, you do this process. And a part of me said, you know, I'll bet like the Button Masher Bros will not get on top of this fast enough to get a temp game project up before the thing is ready. So I'll know how to do this for when they need to have it. And then as it turned out, it was a good thing I remembered how to do that because Jupiter Hadley needed some help too.
I haven't used the post feature, but I just want it just in case. That's my opinion. I don't know. I didn't look at anything that was for game developers. I was just like waiting for the games to be made. I looked at the theme. I theme slaughtered a little bit, which is how you vote for the theme.
Nice. I haven't voted for a theme. Is anyone allowed to do that?
Yeah, well, it's like at first it's themed slaughter, so there's like a rating like +1, 0, -1, and it's like how much you like or dislike a theme. And you get like a load, like you get like a little grouping of them, and you go through and put your like +1s on ones you like, or zeros on ones you don't care about, or -1 on ones you don't like, and then you click next, and you get like another set of 20. And in each stage, they'll take everyone's like votes, and they'll limit the total number of like options you get. And then you'll do it again for like a month later, and then do it again a month later, and it's just less and less and less. It's not like a month, it's way shorter time frame. And then you end up with just a list of 20 or so that you vote on, and one of those becomes the actual theme.
Nice. So I think what she's trying to say is, while we can't vote on your games, we'll still touch your themes. You can't stop us.
I touch their themes. I touch every single one of them. There was like 2,000 themes submitted. Oh, I spent just a week with the thing open deciding your fate.
Oh, I'll have to help with that next time. It's gonna be great.
Oh yes, it is great. Well, I don't know. I feel like a part of the community. I feel like someone who puts a lot of effort into Ludum Dare. I'm still recording Ludum Dare games. I'm still going through it. And whether or not some members of the community think what I do is worth it, they probably don't think all of the games entered are really worth it.
I think the people who are really serious about the community aspect of Ludum Dare, which I think is the majority of people, I'd like to think that they rather appreciate us. Otherwise, they wouldn't, like, before the like submissions are even ready to like be like the forms are ready. Like, you got people sending you like a Twitter message like, "Hey, Larry,
yeah.
or Jupiter, check, I got a new thing. Hey, ooh, it's fancy.
Where's your spreadsheet? Where's your spreadsheet?" That's what I got messages. Where's your form? Are you doing it this year? Are you not doing it this year?
Yeah, or I had a bunch of people like, "I assumed you're doing this, but I don't know because Mike hasn't put up the sticky yet." And I'm like, "He's promised us one. Don't worry. He's promised us."
And he did put it up there, and we had it. I like our little corner of Ludum Dare to believe. Ludum Dare to believe. That was automatic. I did not mean to say it like
Marketing
that.
Successful, Josh. Marketing successful.
Automatic.
Yeah, so we tried to get Josh in here, but he was just too busy and exploding. So we'll get you next time. We'll have to get all three of the bros.
All of the bros. We need all of the bros.
Well, we'll have to have
I want to know more about what they do and why they started. Why did you start? Sorry, just real quick. I know you sounded like you were wrapping stuff up, and I'm just gonna interrupt you.
Yeah, no.
Why did you start doing it?
That was like at the start of my YouTubing where I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. Because when you do YouTube, especially with video games, everyone, and I mean everybody, thinks that they know what the secret is to become the next YouTube star. But much like creating a brand, like a marketing gimmick or like one type of content that you do, that's typically something that only works for one type of YouTuber. And if you're not exactly that carbon copy of that, it doesn't work out. So I was just trying whatever. And I got into game jams, and the indie community was probably one of the most welcoming and supportive groups to be a part of in general. Yeah. So I was like, I didn't get hate messages from random fanboys. I'm on board with this stuff immediately.
And do you cover other jams? I'm sorry, I don't keep up with that.
I got crazy with it for a while, but then I got busy with work and I kind of fell off. But I'm actually going to be covering this one that's coming up at June 2nd through 4th. I think it's where everyone just finishes a game and submits it.
Just make a game, jab.
Yeah, that's one.
I don't know the title of it. I don't have the website.
Yeah, it's on Game Jolt.
Yeah. It's probably on indiegamejams.com.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's a thing I have bookmarked.
Plug. That's my website.
Yeah. I think you asked me for feedback
Yeah.
on that at one point. I was like, yeah, it's got the game gems on it. Woo.
Yeah, it was great feedback. Yes, it has the game jams on it. And I went, yep, that's the point.
Oh, it's got cool animations now. They all like swizzle and pop in and do like a sproing.
Yeah, they're great. I don't know which game jam you're talking about though.
I don't remember either because so I decided this year to get back into a couple of them. So I've got several of them on my calendar, which refuses to load today. So
fair enough. I'm currently still going through the Ludum Dare, and I'm also going through the Adventure Jam very slowly.
Adventure Jam. Yeah. Adventure Jam, come on, grab your friends. We'll go to very indie lands with Jupiter Hadley and Lair the Chupacabra. We're gonna do some stuff. It's Adventure Jam. So you get a tune too. It's free. You get that for free, internet.
Wow. Wow. A free tune.
Yeah, so it's been a lot of fun. Thank you for joining me, Jupiter.
Yeah, hopefully you found that interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to make this into a video, and hopefully people will enjoy the insight. If not, I mean, this exists.
Leave a comment on Larry's channel.
Yeah, you can tell us if you liked this or not. We're not going to do a bunch of these or anything, but I felt it'd be interesting to talk about what it's like covering the jams and our insights into what we do.
Oh, we didn't really talk about what it's like covering it. It's stressful. Why do we do it's stressful for me, I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, it's super stressful.
I just kind of pick some games and relax, and I make a video, talk about what I like and dislike about them, give some feedback. It's a very chill evening for me.
I assumed it was stressful for everyone. I get a load of requests before the jams ended, and that's fine. And then I get people constantly commenting and messaging me and saying, hey, you haven't played my game yet. I entered it 2 weeks ago. I'm like, yeah, there's like 400 games entered on my sheet 2 weeks ago. I don't know what you want. And you have to wait. And that's really stressful because it's just so many people going, hey, you haven't got to my game.
We're people, all right? Just relax. We got your messages. We promise. We promise.
Yeah, I swear. You filled out the form, and then people get annoyed and they like fill out my form again. Oh, does a guy randomly fill out your form? But this is something I wanted to ask on air. I've waited until this day to ask you. Does some guy put in a load of links to Pornhub on your sheet as well?
Let's find out. Pornhub. Yes, I do have some from Pornhub. And I also, let's see, what else do I have? Yeah, I've also got some stuff from a couple of other porn sites who's, alright.
Yeah, does this happen to you this happens every Ludum Dare, and it really messes up my numbers. There's just like random porn entered on my sheet. That's not a game. It's not made for the Ludum Dare.
It's not a crazy load, and like in past ones, like so I color code my sheet where I put like a red line if there's like a problem with the video, and a couple of these are like not Ludum Dare submissions. They're like someone's YouTube video, or
I love it when they said
or this one is to like somebody's what do you call it, a petition on change.org. And a lot of them are just games that don't work, and I tried 17 times to get it to work, and my only thought is, get the personal edition of Unity, people. They don't explode. They just kind of work.
A lot of games. Yeah, I get a lot of games that don't quite work for me. And I don't get a ridiculous amount of Pornhub submissions, but I do get like 3 different people. Well, 3 different submissions, I should say. That's just Pornhub every single year. And I don't know why. And I don't know what they're getting out of this, because there's never been... I've never said like on any social media platform, hey, the guy who links porn, and I've never included it in my videos.
Guy that links porn.
So weird.
One of the guys that links porn. One of the gals that might link porn too.
What gals?
Comment on this video and tell us, what is your motivation? Is it just because Jupiter Hadley is a girl gamer and you're like, I bet I could get in there with some porn links. I bet that's the key. I think you need to reanalyze your logic. Maybe Larry, maybe that's the way to Larry's heart, but I don't think Jupiter Hadley, I don't know.
No. Not into it, sorry, try again. But there are a lot of cool games that get submitted. A lot of people fill out my form incorrectly, but that's just people.
Alright, well, I think we've rambled on long enough. Yeah, this has been talking about YouTubering, and possibly some of this could be taken over into streaming if you were so inclined, for Ludum Dare. And we hope you enjoyed.
Yes. I don't know how to end stuff. Bye.
Bye. Well done. Bye, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Will probably be in the description. I don't know.
It'll also be at the end of the video right now while we're talking. Click it. Click it now. See, it's Jupiter Hadley's star icon. Or maybe it's her fancy new face icon. I don't know. She's too fancy for this end screen.
Yay.
Bye, everybody.